The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar by SolutionXchg on the new archiving, server innovation and legacy migration, updating, merging, and consolidating SAP ArchiveLink compliant archives. We're very happy you could attend and hope you find the topic interesting. My name is Kristen Gerling, and I will be your host throughout the session. Our presentation today will take about 45 minutes, and we have about 5 to 10 minutes reserved for questions at the end. A few procedural and technical notes. All participants are on mute during the full duration of the webinar. Please post any questions or concerns you might have through the questions panel in your administration panel on the right side of your screen. If you cannot hear us or cannot see the presentation, please also alert us through this question panel. We will send out a transcript to those who are interested after the webinar. You can let us know by sending an email to info@solutionxchg.com, and that is spelled info@solutionxchg.com. But without much further ado, let's dive right into the topic. Our speaker today will be my business partner, Jochen Hager. Jochen, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for the introduction and welcome everybody to today's webinar. My name is Jochen Hager. I'm a managing partner with SolutionXchg, and I've been working in this field for more than 15 years throughout my career, working in various positions from product development, consulting management, to implementation manager and business development functions. I am sharing today with you new ideas around SAP archiving, server innovation, and legacy migration. I want to give you a thorough insight into the topic of archiving around SAP, the different variations of archiving, and how you can best improve your landscape to get the most out of it, get the most out of current innovations. Now, let me continue to the next slide, if I could move my slide. Here we go. First, I would like to talk about a few general archiving terms. SAP archive systems are systems that are connected via SAP ArchiveLink in our current definition for the purpose of this talk. This is, in a way, a legacy interface that has been around for a long time, but most current archives are still connected through ArchiveLink. We're talking a little bit about different styles of products in this area and what you can do to optimize your system landscape around SAP ArchiveLink connected products. In that context, we also cover migration solutions because that kind of goes hand in hand, and I explain why that is important in the system landscape optimization context. Other terms you will hear very often are SAP document archiving. That refers to standard and add-on business solutions. There's a few standard functionality capabilities built into your SAP system. There's also a lot of add-on business solutions out there for invoice management, personnel document management, electronic personnel files, and all kinds of business process supporting electronic document management solutions. A large chunk in this whole area of topics is also the SAP data archiving topic. There's various tools and approaches. We have done a multitude of webinars on data archiving as well. You can find some of those on our YouTube page. I'll touch on it on data archiving a little bit towards the end of the presentation. And there's also BI archiving. I'll highlight that specifically because it's somewhat different from the classical SAP data archiving, even though it doesn't say SAP ERP data archiving. That's what most people imply by that. Obviously, SAP BI archiving is also SAP data archiving, but it has is specifically geared towards the business warehouse functionality of SAP. All right, so as I said before, SAP archiving has been around for more than 20 years. Currently, customers fall into two categories. There's that category that has already been using SAP archiving solutions for many years. Most of the clients we're dealing today fall into this category, but there's still a few that do not yet use an SAP archiving solution, be that for data archiving or document archiving. Of those who do use products today, there's two main categories. One category is full-blown ECM solutions with SAP connectivity. In that bucket, in this bucket, we have solutions like open text solutions. We have solutions from IBM FileNet. We have solutions from EMC Documentum, and solutions that do not only cover SAP connectivity and SAP archiving, but are meant to be enterprise content management solution to cover all aspects of document management in an enterprise. And then there is another category, quick start archiving, SAP archiving products only. In that category falls the classic SAP content server, a baseline product that's available from SAP, and other products. And I'll differentiate between those products in a later part of the slides, because I think there is a very important lesson to be learned here. Let's look at the ECM solutions, and what we see with many clients we work with today, and what they're struggling with is that the various ECM solutions that are out there are often very much oversized for the actual needs. The technology has been sold for a company-wide rollout, and the use of this particular solution for not only SAP archiving and document management, but for all other areas of the enterprise. The servers for that reason are very designed to be quite powerful. They're designed to be or set up and sized for growth, and most of that growth has never happened for many companies out there. In other words, the solutions are often oversized. With that, they are way too expensive. They are based on technology and an architecture that's about 20 years old, and in today's technology that is ancient. And companies who use these products are currently missing out on significant cost savings and might not even be future ready, because even if they stay with the same product family, these solutions have to be upgraded, and they can be upgraded at a much lower cost today. Systems that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars a few years ago can now be had for a fraction of the cost, with more features and much less administration. So as a consequence, what you should really take a look at is the complexity of your administration, how you can bring that down, hardware support fees, how can I minimize the number of servers I use in my SAP archiving setup, how can I reduce my database maintenance cost or even database licensing completely, and also with that eliminate additional archiving, additional administration needs for a database, and how can I bring down the maintenance for my existing content management solution. Because after all, right now, today, in many companies, 80% of the average company's IT budget is spent on keeping the lights on. And as we all know, budgets do not increase year over year. Just to the contrary, budgets go down. So we need to free up funds for new technology and investments, and therefore it becomes necessary to reduce spending on the existing established technology. How can we do that? We can do that by replacing some of the existing established technology with simpler and more standardized solutions. That brings down software maintenance cost, that reduces the system IT footprint, it reduces administrative efforts, and it allows us to replace ailing legacy archiving systems. It's not only about bringing out your system up to today's standards. There's more. There is a side aspect to it, and that side aspect that you also want to do this risk-free. Every change in systems has a certain inherent risk associated with it, and we have thought long and hard on how to mitigate that risk, how to minimize that risk, so that the migrations, if you move from system A to B, be that for and up, because you want to do an update of your system architecture, of your system landscape, or you are forced to do that step because of a merger or an acquisition or a divestiture of an enterprise. We worked long and hard on how to manage the necessary or voluntary migration of data from a legacy SAP archiving system to a new SAP archiving system, so that the migration is fast and almost risk-free. And I bring later on here in just a few minutes, I have 2 or 3 great customer examples where we highlight how you can do that, how we supported companies who tasked us to help them with that task, and what the lessons learned were out of those migrations. So once you made your decision, once you figured out how to get the data from your legacy system into the new system, significant savings can be realized, and you get into a position where you can reduce and repurpose the hardware you have in use today. So from an infrastructure perspective, this is what you and most companies probably have today. Your SAP system with an SAP ArchiveLink interface included. ArchiveLink is an HTTP-based interface. With that, it's really quite modern, and it was quite innovative at its days to be built that way. To client-server architecture, software as a service are a few buzzwords that come to mind that specifically apply to this interface. But the original systems from many vendors, including OpenText, are classical storage systems that have a connector module, a storage module, a database module. They connect to storage components, Jukebox, NetApp, EMC, Sun, different large name brand storage solutions. And they also maintain a large database that needs to be managed, typically an Oracle database or a MySQL database, an MS SQL, a Microsoft SQL Server database, that is a DB2 database in some cases as well. So heavy-duty infrastructure that is built to last, but also is quite oversized, giving today's technology that is cloud-oriented, that is lightweight-oriented, that is actually all about virtualization and reduction of complexity. If you look at those classical systems from that perspective, you quickly realize that the architecture is all but lightweight, and it needs to be reviewed. It needs to be questioned, and there's a number of different system approaches that are much more lightweight. One example here is the KGS content server for storage that I'm highlighting here as an alternative to the heavyweight solutions, and that solutions based on a simple Java servlet that runs in a Tomcat web server without any additional database, just with a connector to storage hardware, and that can be your existing storage hardware. It can also be lightweight, ICAS compliant software, retention management and compliance hardware management software that allows the whole infrastructure to be virtualized. And we have clients who put solutions like this on the Amazon cloud, including the retention management component. So from heavy duty storage to really lightweight, intelligent archiving and storage oriented systems that utilize file system storage as well as object oriented storage as available. If you look at this in layers, we have SAP ArchiveLink or BCILM as the two compatible interfaces on top. Your SAP system will be on top here. A solution like KGS, the KGS archive servers, lightweight archive server with significantly less maintenance cost than one of the large archiving solutions, ECM solutions out there. Potentially a middle layer for compliance reasons to secure the files that are written onto the magnetic disk in a way that is DoD certified and full retention management capabilities included onto regular file system or NAS storage. So the middle layer, the ICAS Eternia, completely transparent to the KGS software layer, KGS software layer significantly reduced in system administration. And with an architecture like that, we can update our infrastructure to today's most modern standards. And with a migration process, we can quickly move to reduce and repurpose our hardware. And also, if we wish to do that, take SAP archiving into the cloud. A quick case study on the archive migration aspect of it. A large banking client we've been working with, a large Fortune 100 banking client with nationwide business operations and an IT team in multiple US locations, had the unique challenge that they had two legacy archive server solutions, with one of them failing and one of them outdated because it had fallen behind in maintenance and updates. And the task was to replace both systems and put in a new consolidated system to gain significant synergies through the actual consolidation. That eliminated annual maintenance and the cost for legacy products, and it consolidated hardware cost, hardware maintenance, operations cost, database cost, storage cost, total TCO. The task at hand was to migrate all valid documents from an Ixos OpenText system and an SAP content server to a new archive server. The selected approach required that there was no end user impact while we were performing the migration, and we had to stay within the time and budget restrictions. You can imagine, as a large nationwide bank, there was no room for error. The migration had to be on time and completely seamless because all bank branches relied on the documents that were administered and managed by those two servers, specifically lease records for for property, for all the bank locations were stored on some of the servers, so that information had to be available 99.9% with only a small outage window. We chose an approach using a proxy server that allowed the migration of all the documents from the source system to the target system via a cache or migration server. At the same time, this cache and migration server functions as a proxy. So the SAP system just asked the cache migration proxy server where to retrieve a specific document. The SAP system had no knowledge whether the document was still on the source system or already moved to the target system. And the documents were served up transparently to SAP. The migration server first queried the target system. If the document wasn't there, it automatically retrieved the document in question from the source archiving system or the legacy system. At the same time, the migration service mechanism was continuously pumping documents from the legacy system to the new target system. And all that happens, as you can see, without any effect on the SAP system or the SAP users, because the documents were transparently moved and migrated in the background. With that approach, 2.8 million documents were migrated in just 16 days from start to finish with zero end user impact. It's a great success story, and it's only doable because of the quality of the tools and the approach used for this particular migration. As a summary, I already mentioned zero to no end user impact. We did a full count verification that all documents migrated. All documents and validation files have been added to a documentation package. This package is going to be preserved in the for future reference if there should be any questions of what happened when the documents were actually migrated. There is a comprehensive description that can be used for internal revisions and audits, and all statistics and counts are available in spreadsheets. And as a result, the company was able to shut down the legacy systems as planned. Another example, a large consumer goods client, a large Fortune 100 company, international business operations. Its outsourcing, IT outsourcing, was handled by HP. Maintenance cost was the big pressure that prompted the switch. It was, in this particular instance, the company was an early adopter of archiving, SAP archiving technology, and paid a premium back in those days for being an early adopter, and was able to cut the annual maintenance payments significantly. I believe down to 20% of the original cost of maintenance payments. Significant savings through reduction of maintenance, through reduction of hardware cost, hardware maintenance, operations cost. No more database involved, so no more database licenses, no more database administration. Again, system landscape optimization, going from a complex multi-tier system, multi-server system, to a simplified system that just uses regular hard disk and an intelligent approach without the need for an external database to access documents quickly. Again, the same archiving solution was used. The solution is widely recognized as the best available solution, with a unique approach that allows it to migrate and cope with the highest performance requirements. It's completely SAP ArchiveLink 6.0 3.4 tested and certified, including load test, and it is also certified for BC ILM 3.0. This particular project included the migration of 30 million documents handled by the HP outsourcing team. We helped with setup and then handed over the day-to-day migration tasks to the HP team. Close to zero business impact across multiple SAP systems. This particular solution, this particular approach is the only one that allows that and did not require the customer to make changes to the multitude of SAP systems that were out there and that were connected to the same archive server. There is no code or data that is being installed on the SAP system. Everything is managed in the migration server. And with that approach, even though the customer had multiple SAP systems all around the world, this approach allowed to have a centralized migration taking place without the need to involve the basis administrators of many SAP systems out there. Significant reduction in annual maintenance cost, improvement through there were additional improvements being done during the changeover. All images were compressed and converted to PDF. Strategically, the company wanted to move away from multi-page TIFF documents and single-page TIFF documents that requires multiple files. They were all combined into combined and converted into a PDF document. And those PDF documents were compressed in addition during the process on the fly to save storage space. In addition, a high availability landscape was introduced, which was now possible and justifiable because the cost for each archive server was brought down considerably. And now if you want to take this even a step further, you can think about taking these archive servers into the cloud, which allow you with the inherent virtualization, allows you to make quick and easy copies of those archive servers in a split second, so that you can have multiple servers and copies of your archive data available throughout your SAP system landscape. I'm working with one client specifically right now that uses that option to make production data available in a production-like test and quality control system that has full access to archive data as well, which is highly unusual. Most open text implementations I worked with in my days out in the field did not have that capability. When you did a copy of your production SAP system, you lost connectivity to the archive documents. So that concludes the first part of my presentation and talk here. A quick summary and takeaways on the different topics I have covered. Why are we looking at this? What needs to happen? What needs to happen to optimize our system landscape? We want to reduce software maintenance costs. We want to reduce the IT system footprint. We want to reduce administrative efforts, day-to-day efforts, and replace legacy archiving systems with streamlined, more modern architectures. We can do that by eliminating heavy-duty databases and complex archiving software, replacing it with servlet-type archive servers that run on plain hard disk. We can augment that with retention management and deletion security software of the likes of Eternity, ICAS. And with the tools like the KGS Migration4ArchiveLink, we can switch over with a click onto the new archive. Day one, the new archive is active, and in the background, a seamless parallel operation of the legacy and the new production archive takes place. There is rollback functionality at any point in time. if something in the transition phase should go wrong because the old archive is never changed. There can be format conversion and compression during the actual archiving task, and the migration runs on autopilot with detailed error logging in a temporary database that we use for logging purposes only. A complete compliance log is available, so the whole migration effort can be completed with minimal to no risk. Here are the examples. Wells Fargo Bank did a dual archive replacement, about 2.8 million documents in less than 16 days. The whole migration was VMware based and running Windows as an operating system for the temporary migration servers. Procter & Gamble did a global archive replacement for over 20 production SAP instances connected, a total of about 8 terabytes of archive data, close to 30 million documents. Even if your documents are not, or if your requirements are not in that magnitude, we have worked with other customers like the City of Edmonton in Canada, about 800,000 documents migrated in about 10 days. Very smooth going project managed by the customer themselves. We were completely hands off. We were there to help. We were setting up the project. We were advising. We were providing the tools, and the actual migration was done by a basis administrator and archive administrator from the City of Edmonton. So all kinds of approaches. Wells Fargo approach was a full service approach. Procter & Gamble was a third-party supported approach. The City of Edmonton was an advisory-based approach. And all this can happen without changing your business scenarios. And the beauty is really that the migration and the switchover of a new SAP ArchiveLink based archive can be done without changing any of your SAP applications, whether that's accounts payable, human resources, sales and distribution. No business process customizing changes are needed on the SAP side. A few selected customers. There's quite a few well-known names here. One of the largest projects currently underway is Lufthansa moving to a KGS archive from an OpenText solution. Many HP did a move to a new archiving solution, and many other customers, including the ones we mentioned before, have taken the step and changed their archiving solutions to a new approach. It's all SAP certified. I will make these certificates available to you on request, and supported by us. We are SolutionXchg. We help you with business process analysis, SAP module customizing around archiving, project management, enterprise content management, and many more. A few of the products we are working with are DataVort products for business warehouse archiving, system landscape optimization, PBS products, TJC products, XFT products for business process automation, and the two products we specifically talked about today, the product suite by KGS for archive, SAP Archive server capabilities and migration capabilities, and Eternity for compliant storage management. So with that, I want to conclude. We have been out there in the market for about 7 years now, working as SolutionXchg, bringing innovative German software products to the US market. We're an exclusive KGS reseller, an exclusive Eternity agent in the US, and have strong archiving and document management expertise, which we built out throughout our careers. We have over 20 years of experience in the implementation of solutions in the SAP market. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions and engage with you. Please give us a call, and you can contact either me or my business partner, Kristen Gerling. And that concludes my presentation. I hand it back to Kristen. Thank you.
Thank you, Jochen. Thanks for listening. We are now going to handle a few selected questions. Please use the question panel to insert your questions. We have one question from one of the participants, and that is about ILM. If ILM or SAP's ILM or other ILM tools are the ones that are handling and controlling retention policies.
ILM can certainly be used to manage retention policies. The difference is that most of the retention management is business process driven for documents. So it's really the business process who drives the retention on the documents. ILM is used for data lifecycle management, transactional records mostly. ILM implementations are quite costly and complicated, and many companies shy away from using SAP ILM for that particular purpose. There's other tools out there in the market now that have better capabilities or different capabilities. The tools we use for compliance and retention management are built into the KGS content server and the KGS content server and the Eternity tools, and those are simplified retention management capabilities that lock and secure files of the certain object and document types for a minimum amount of time. They do not have active KGS does not have active deletion capabilities, but you could do deletion runs on it. Eternity, I would have to defer to Kristen how that can be best handled on the Eternity side. But in all cases, the business process has to be the leading instance, and that's something that is especially on the SAP side, on the business process side, not completely resolved even today. And SAP ILM, unfortunately, does not necessarily resolve that issue either.
Mm-hmm. On the Eternity side, just since you've mentioned it, it's really providing warm compliance on the actual archived file, and the retention management capability is that there is a retention date for the specific file, and the file is protected against deletion. You can run reports identifying files that are past their retention date, and then you can mass delete those, but that requires user activity or administrator, better said, administrator activity. It's not something that will happen automatically, and there's a legal reason for that, and that is you need to be able to first set legal holds or decide if this file is really truly ready for deletion. Just because of it having passed a certain date does not automatically allows it to be deleted. So the files are protected. You have reporting capabilities that will flag what can be deleted, but an administrator still has to push the actual trigger. We have another question from the audience, and that is, are the standard SAP archive objects still being used?
Yes, standard SAP archiving objects are still used. That is the classical way of archiving data out of SAP. And because all the tools we described are still using traditional SAP ArchiveLink. So even if you have a more streamlined, more simplified storage approach underneath, you still use the same applications as before. So when I mentioned here that your SAP AP application, HR SD application stays the same, obviously your SARA archiving cockpit or your SARA transaction to manage SAP archiving also stays the same. SAP has been getting better and better about not only providing technical views, but also providing business views on SAP archiving objects. That reduces actually the requirement for PBS software to be used. And DataVoard as well as TJC offer very nice intelligent cockpits that allow you to manage all your archiving, data archiving functionality to make it more controllable and easier. Of course, we also do help to implement the ILM toolset. We have actually people in our staff and extended staff team that were the very first ones to be involved with SAP ILM implementations in the US. And the very, very first ILM implementation in the US is actually using a KGS content server as a repository. So yes, we do have the experience. SAP ILM just needs to be looked at, and we need to find out if it's the right solution for you. There's newer concepts coming up in that arena as well. Some of them are provided by DataVoard. We're happy to talk to you about that once we know more of your specific requirements.
Yeah, to that aspect, I would like to add DataVoard is actually an SAP development partner of ILM, so certain functionality is being created by our partner DataVoard according to specs delivered from SAP. And then there is one last question, and that is what type of infrastructure is necessary for the KGS content server or the KGS Migration4ArchiveLink tool?
Mm-hmm. The KGS content server can successfully be run in a virtualized environment. It can run on a Unix environment, different Unix flavors, or it can run on Windows servers. We have done successful deployment of the KGS content server in cloud environments on the Amazon cloud. It can also be run on a VM server farm on premise or on physical servers, which is, I think Procter & Gamble is running them on, I'm not quite sure. That might have changed now as well. But most of the companies we've been dealing with deploy virtual servers actually, due to the fact that the load on these archive servers compared to the performance that you can get from a physical machine is fairly insignificant. If you look at the number of requests, there is maybe a few hundred requests. Maximum is a few thousand requests in an hour during high business activity. And that is no load at all for a web server. The KGS software itself is Java-based and is installed and runs on a Tomcat web server. And that's about it. You need to install Java, you need to install Tomcat on a virtual machine and connect a magnetical disk to it. And that's the infrastructure you would require.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the questions section of this webinar. Thank you very much for attending today. We hope you got some interesting takeaways. and hope to see you next time. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.